if you're gonna square off a building, like we're building a pole barn right now. So, going corner to corner to get you across to see exactly what it is. Yeah. And like if you were to take corner to corner from there and then, yeah, measure the distance from one corner to the next corner in the center, make that cross. Yeah. Go straight across down to the southwest corner there.
This one down here.
From there to there.
It's a
Okay. 1.24 miles. Now do the other one.
Okay.
Right there. Yeah. Start there and go down. Nope. Next one. Yeah. 1.25. Damn, that's so close. That is crazy. Good afternoon, everyone. I know you're always looking for new, exciting information about prehistory because a lot of this is cycles. A lot of things we're seeing in our world today seem to be revolving around cycles. You see there's a change that's occurring at the moment. So ask yourself, why are all the changes happening right this second? Well, if we're entering into another cycle, something heavier, more powerful that will shift society, well, perhaps we are going to, look to the past, the ancient past, to see what is happening and how this could explain some of the changes we're seeing in our modern world today. So I have with me David Stig Hansen. Now, what's so interesting is he went out to Mauritania and hired guides and found his way out to the Richat Structure. Now, that's exciting itself, and that's a full program in its own, but we want to step beyond that to some new discoveries.
Now, this actually, I can't believe what I'm looking at right here. I wish that I had known about this. You can see
you drove right over it. The road goes right over that. What are we looking at?
I didn't exactly. So I hiked to that, and I think I drove to about here. And you see these little roads going different directions. You don't know where they're going. And I didn't have the internet, so I couldn't follow it like this. I didn't have this resolution. Your phone
you could have gone straight out to that canal there.
I did. I walked there. And I got video. I rang the rocks to make sure they didn't ring, just like Michael Tellinger. They didn't ring as loud as his rocks do. These trees are about 10 feet tall, right? Okay. Let me tell you how I gauged it. They're about 10 foot tall. I stood on the edge of the canal and took some video. It was above the tree. And I had to climb up at least 10 feet, maybe even 20 to get from the bottom. So I would say they're 15 to 20 feet deep. I got to double check. Maybe I'm misspeaking because it's been a year since I did this. And the trees are in the canal. There's no trees up here. The trees are only growing in there because there's a layer of sand. You never see what's under the sand. You do in some points. There's a big old piece of flat rock under there. So I believe the rock was kind of the bottom part, but they may have broken
it in with sand too. It could be way deeper than you're looking at because tree roots hold debris in place. So perhaps it's much deeper, but it's just filled in with sand over time.
So what you see here is the two parallel canals. They're almost exactly parallel. They're not perfect, but I want to talk about this structure next.
Geologic features are really interesting here when you're looking at the wide view out. Because what I see down there in sort of the southeast, it looks like a dancing kind of phantom shape right there with the two arms and something coming off the head. The legs are kind of together.
He's got a head and a robe, and that's one sleeve.
Yeah, right. Something like that. It's like looking at a cloud. What's truly the cloud? For that one split second, you actually see something there, and then it morphs and bends away.
What do you see here? What do you see happening here? Yeah. You see these parallel lines going up to the top of the plateau.
If you appreciate this type of information, click on that link in the description box below. Support our broadcast, our continued mission of bringing you information that can enhance our lives, make our lives more comfortable as we move through this transition. And we know there are going to be breakdowns in systems along the way. This is just an insurance policy.
Yeah, support the broadcast and support yourself. This is a saying I like to say, help me, help you. And this is one of those things. You can help us by helping yourself.
And remember, any purchase that you make with the links, whether it be through the podcast in the description box or on the videos across the multiple platforms after we stream, helps us keep this type of information and this show on air. That's going to make a huge world of difference, sharing information in communities.
The top of the plateau looks like Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer. There's his nose right there. But watch this. And you've got the plateau as the dark part. It's the darkest part is the top. But there was some type of ancient quarrying going on here. And this is the highest point. But guess what? These lines go over to what's called the Tomyat Mountain, right over here. And it goes right in the middle of it. Why is that line
like a pig snout right there? Oh, wait. That looks like a secondary arc coming off of the main bolt that came down there.
See, you're looking at electricity. I'm thinking it was just ancient mining done by giants.
That structure was there first, or else they wouldn't have been able to put a line through it. So looking at one cataclysm or one thing that may have shifted or created this, story of Atlantis, there might have been something prior in another cycle previously.
Let's go back. The guy that hosted me, he also is a local celebrity, and he actually told me a story that happened about 12,000 years ago, that there was an isostatic rebound event. I'm not too into it, but the Taman Reset River apparently rose and dried up. And that happened at the same time. I don't know how close it is to the Atlantic story or not, but what I do want to say here is if you look at these ley line grid maps, you're seeing, not very well here, but ley line node number 20, this is the other side of the world. And that same node, look, this one, this is not flat Earth, okay? Because when I met Randall Carlson, I told him I was a Google Earther, and he said, "Oh, good, I thought you said flat Earth. I was about to throw you out of the car." And he's definitely not flat Earth. But when you see this
go,
line
Randall,
here,
go. Oh, wow, and it goes right through that line.
It goes right through there in Algeria. I know where this is. I'm going to show you this next, or in the next episode. It wasn't just Libya. Libya's got some crazy stuff over here. What's this? That's Chad. This is a whole, this is just craziness. We can talk about this next time, I think. But where you just were, where you were just talking, I think you're talking about that. Wait, you're talking Libya. I've been talking about this for a while. It's out here. It's this weird.
But
well, we got areas out there called Manhattan, but the idea that this is natural, and this is the thing. When you compare it to what I've found in Utah and the Grand Canyon, when you look at that, people are very quick to say, well, that's just natural, right? And when you look at the one in Utah, you're like, if it's not, it's still very old. But when you
look melted stone too, if you're gonna have a plasma discharge from space, you got to realize the heat in millions of degrees that would be coming down with that. So imagine if you had a plasma discharge right next to New York City, it would melt. And you would get buildings, because they have melted castles in Scotland, melted rock all over the place. So if you're looking at it, a laid out city grid, imagine if that right there, that dark, what you're seeing was a plasma discharge rolling through the crust of the planet. Imagine the heat coming off of that. That would melt the rock. And if that would struck through, just going with the mind experiment here, if that was an ancient city and that discharge pattern at the end of the tendrils, that would have melted all the buildings.
I'm still convinced this is some type of quarrying, but you have these mounds that are built on top of them. I mean, look at that thing. Is that a mound? Was this material added later, or was it put in there?
It looks very man-made. I mean, you're telling me you have all these crisscross, striations there. What's the width on this thing anyway? Give me a.
Well, let's go with these two straight lines here, from here to here. That's 2,800 feet. So it's like a half a mile, right? There you go, half a mile almost.
Yeah, now how far is it? Now go way to the west over there where you see. Yeah, right there.
That's actually almost a perfect mile. The mile stops. That's a mile right there.
Yeah, right there. Start there and bring it to the same place. Keep going. Keep going. Yeah, right there. How far is that?
1.83 kilometers, or where's the miles? 1.14 miles.
Yeah.
And by the way, you've got this big crevice. You were talking electrical. I say that's just a river that went through it. And even if it was, this is going to be the same distance, 1.14 miles. I can make it. I don't want to be a liar. But then, look at that. You also look at the way the line going from, it's following the contour of the land.
Yeah, go corner to corner. So if you're gonna square off a building, like we're building a pole barn right now. So, going corner to corner to get you across to see exactly what it is. Yeah. And like if you were to take corner to corner from there and then, measure the distance from one corner to the next corner in the center, make that cross. Yeah. Go straight across down to the southwest corner there.
This one down here.
From there to there. Okay. 1.24 miles. Now do the other one.
Okay.
Right there, yeah. Start there and go down. Nope, next one, yeah. 1.25. Damn, that's so close. That is crazy.
That ain't no Fibonacci sequence right there. That's like
that's 1.424 mile to 1.25 mile. If you're going to square off a building or a city, that's something unusual right there. I'm really going to say, like, That blows my mind right there that you even found that object in the middle of the desert there.
Yeah, well, this Tassili Najir is covered, and I'm okay. So I have this Atlantis page that I created on Facebook.
So tell us how you can find a little more info, because I like the higher res definition photos.
Right. Was this Atlantis? Go there to see everything we've talked about. And you can see, I'm just going to go through these real quick. This is Tassil, where I just showed you, Tassili Najir.
Well, and those are some Algerian. Yeah, there's been an enormous amount of habitation over the last 12,000 years across the Sahel. I mean,
what is
the Ghana kingdom, trade routes.
Oh, yeah. That's where most of the gold came from.
Incredibly advanced societies and civilization. I mean, we give it no credit for like how advanced it was across Africa.
Yeah, that's the Grand Canyon. Okay, I'm not going to try to show you everything, but some of the stuff in the Grand Canyon. Look at this mound in the Grand Canyon. This is right in the middle of all that. I mean, do you think that that looks like it was naturally formed when you've got all these other weird crisscross? And look at the straight lines you see in this.
I'd have to look and see if there's any other primary strike point where that'd be a tendril strike off.
And one of the things that I'm just looking for it real quick that I've been trying to show people is what mainstream says. You know, you've got these plateaus, you've got these, but why would it cut it? I'm looking for it.
Yeah, and the little monument, the buttes and stuff, those always never made sense to me either. Never made sense. Like, how do you get that erosion and it leaves, you know, and then who's the guy who tries to file Mud Fossil University Classic? That guy's really good at identifying electrical discharge patterns in the geology and or quote unquote electric geology. He's pretty good at identifying areas, different explanations for what remains there, but he's able to pretty much nail where the electrical features of discharge on the planet have occurred.
Well, I went over to Utah and I was looking at what's happening in the same place, and rock naturally breaks up and turns into what they call needles like this. This is called the needles in Utah. It's over there at the Canyonlands. But then when you find that you've got other, I'm going to show you something right here. Okay, so it's possible maybe somehow a rock can break up parallelly. I don't think that really explains this. That's right by the airport in New York. That's something completely different. But and they say it's done for the ducks. But the ducks can fly. Why would you have to make a canal for the ducks? Okay, fine. You've got parallel lines breaking up, but how do you explain geometric lines? How many parallel lines can you find in this picture? This is a plateau. It's got, okay, let's say that's north-south. It might not be.
Where's this at? Like, give me a location on the planet.
I can show you. That's in the picture.
Can you go back to it?
Yeah.
Oh, there.
Let me just max this out.
That's sculpted on a plateau top.
It's not just one, and let's measure this area just from here to it's about a mile.
Give me a measure off the bottom.
That's actually a half a mile. So, and in a way, you can
just
say,
the one very dark feature with the very pronounced stripe. Yeah, just at the bottom there. Yeah, and go up to, you just stop right there. Yeah, how far is that?
That is a fifth of a mile. Yeah, and the thing is that you don't get just two sets of parallel lines here. That's the thing about it. You know, they try to say, oh, the Utah Canyonlands has the needles and the rock breaks up in these parallel lines. Okay, can you imagine what it would take for a rock to simultaneously break up into 3 different sets?
In that far remote area, even in the modern day, to spend that much energy to carve all those lines up there.
Well, and maybe it was done with laser beams. I don't know. I've seen some crazy stuff that's modern day. So you get up into the mountains here, and this whole area has been worked. And then you look at this thing here. I call that the comb because it's got bristles on both sides. Now,
yeah, right. That's an unusual formation there too.
Yeah, it's been engineered. It's been intelligently designed, you know. And you're seeing this in the middle of the Sahara where there's not supposed to be anything. And when you come out of here, look, there's been many layers of work here, like what happened.
But again,
here.
You would be in the bottom of an older estuary at that point. I'm wondering if they were somehow harvesting the water and using that for aquaculture of sorts back many thousands of years ago.
For sure. It had to be when there's water. I mean, unless
obviously it was something to do with water, but you look how perfectly those canals come off. And if you're thinking of how we do aquaculture with canals today, or agriculture, both, you're either delivering water to the source or you're having an area where the plants stay in there and then you bring the water to it versus pumping it out and then putting it on fields. Same, but different.
You see how these lines, these darker lines, look like they were there first? I think they had a machine to make these lines. I can show you these lines all over the world. They're called in Colorado, in Argentina, these straight lines coming off of mountains. But then it looks like here someone did more work and went across. So look at this one, it's broken there, and went across these lines that were pre-existing. Who made the first set of lines? You see lines come away perpendicularly from rivers, but when you see rivers and you see lines like this where they come away almost perpendicularly and parallelly from the river, that's not a natural thing. Just like the canals I showed you, you've got yourself, somebody worked this area, and that's just one of them. That's just one of the areas. This is the Tibesti. This has pretty much still shots and see all photos if you want, or if you go in, you're going to find a bunch of stuff I've gotten pictures of everywhere around the world, and you can start to take a look at some of the stuff. These are amazing. These structures, these plateaus, they're more like a mounds that have been made, and check them out.
It's all time to compare information, because trying to put the past together will help us understand what this cycle is doing now and about to do more to our current civilization. And once we understand that, we can see why a lot of these changes are taking place right now. So until that time, bye for now.